All right, I'm going to tell you exactly what the best business is for young men. Now, I've made this video before. It's one of my first videos, actually, but I need to rehash it. I wasn't very informative in that video, relative to how informative I will be in this video. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this. This will be your blueprint guide. Take some notes. You're about to be informed. And this business model is flipping. Going to a thrift store, buying stuff, selling it on eBay. It's easy. You don't have to wait, because the thing is, when you start a website or something like that, you have to build it up over time, right? Got to get people to know about your brand, this, that, or third. eBay, it's very simple. Like, you can make money doing this within a week. Decent money, especially depending on your location. And if you live in a very good area for thrift stores or yard sales or whatever source you want to go to, you can make full-time income doing this. That is depending on where you are, but no matter where you are, I believe you can make decent money, especially if you're a young man. Now, the reason why this is the best business for young men is because it needs almost no starting capital. I mean, you can start this with like $10. You can turn that into a pretty good amount. It's safe in that, unless you're a complete moron, you'll make money. Now, first we're gonna go over thrift store locations. I know some of you will say, "Oh, well, I can't get to the thrift store this, that, or third." I'll go over solutions to that, possible solutions. Anyways, so it's simple. You Google thrift stores near me. Give it your location. Boom. Get a bunch of thrift stores near you. Personally, in my experience, I find that Salvation Army and American Thrift Store are the best. And I think there's another one that's, forgot the name of it. It's a very local one. I doubt it will be near you. But what about Goodwill? Some of you may be asking. Goodwill, I think that's relative on location, because there's a few YouTubers that I remember watching that did flipping, and they did Goodwill, and Goodwill worked for them. For me, Goodwill is never good. Never found anything, and the specific items I'm going to tell you about in this video are the easiest to flip. At Goodwill, they were nowhere to be seen. American Thrift Store and Salvation Army were the best for me. So you can either hit one, or you can hit multiple and use some kind of route finder on Google. Put down all the thrift stores you want to go to, make a route. Now, a lot of you will be saying, well, I can't go to a thrift store. I can't drive a car. If that's your situation, then try to work out a deal with your parents. Pay them to drive you. If you can't do that, then try to get them to go either way, because that's what I used to do. I did this a long time ago. And my mom would go to the thrift store every week, so I would go with her, and I would just get whatever I could at the time. Got to make things work, right? But if you find a way to get to thrift stores, whether it be getting a license early or whatever, you can do this. You just have to figure out how to get there. And even if you can't, learning these principles, learning this business model will be very important, because if you ever need money quick and you don't have much money to work with, this is the best way to do it. Quick money, like you're short on rent and you have a week, this is the way you do it. So, with that out of the way, or actually, if you have a friend that can drive, they can do that for you, and you just split the profit. There's a lot of different ways of working around it. So anyways, let's just actually talk about going to the thrift store. What do you do? So in this video, I'm going to be talking mostly about DVDs and video games, because these I find are the simplest, easiest to sell. What you do is you walk into the thrift store and you walk to the DVD and the video game section. And if I recall correctly, when I was there, I mean, inflation's happened, so I don't know, it might have gone up. They were like $1, $1.50 each. Whether it was a game or a DVD. You go in there and you just search the games. You look at the games, see if there's anything interesting. The DVDs, look if there's anything interesting. Now, I'm going to talk to you about determining whether or not something's a good buy. So, there's a few things you always buy. Mario video games. Never pass a Mario video game. There is no Mario video game on the universe that doesn't resell. Every single Mario video game sells well on eBay. So that's rule number one. You find a Mario video game, you buy it. Okay? What are also buys? You also want to look up very rare games, just in case you come by it. I know there's DBZ, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I think it's on the PS2. I forgot what the hell the name was exactly. I know it's something 3. It's something like what I said. That sells for like $100. NCAA Football 14, that sells for $100, I think. NBA college basketball 2K3 on the GameCube sells for over $100. So you want to learn all these games that are very profitable to sell. And in general, sports video games, although I just listed to sports video games, aren't worth that much 99% of the time. And at the start, you have to acknowledge that you're going to be scanning a lot of games, and I'll talk about scanning. You're going to be scanning a lot of games that aren't worth anything. You're scanning a lot of DVDs that aren't worth anything. That's part of the process of learning. Okay, I can't tell you every single profitable game. I can't tell you every single profitable DVD. I can't tell you every single non-profitable DVD or game. This is stuff you have to figure out over time. However, I can give you, like I've been doing, stuff to watch out for. Mario games, always get Mario games. I listed a few games that sell for a lot. DVDs, always look for sealed. This goes for games too. Always look for sealed. Sealed things usually sell for a pretty good amount, even if it's something that usually doesn't cost a lot. So always look for brand new things. Special editions, Blu-ray editions, stuff like that. And in general, much like sports games, very popular DVDs usually don't sell that well. Like, for example, if you find a regular DVD of Cinderella, maybe if you got like a special edition Blu-ray, you could sell it for something, but like a regular DVD edition of Cinderella, that won't sell for a lot, 99% of the time. That goes for very popular movies, very popular Disney movies. In general, it's funny because uncommon games usually don't sell for that much unless they're uncommon as in unpopular. Unpopular games usually don't sell for that much unless they're really rare. But unpopular DVDs usually sell for more than the popular DVDs, while popular video games usually sell for a lot. It's an interesting dynamic, so it's something to keep in mind. And for DVDs, I'll continue on that. Some of my best purchases for DVDs, for example, I bought at the thrift store, there were 2 of the same DVD, sealed. It was some stretching DVD, some lady, I don't know what the hell it was. I scanned it, it's like $50, brand new. I sold both of them for $50 each. $100. They cost me like $2. And it was a stretching DVD. I mean, I think if the average person looked at it, they wouldn't think much of it. So always keep an eye out for uncommon DVDs. Remember, there was a conspiracy theory. Because when you say conspiracy theory, it usually means it's not true, but I don't know, this DVD was about 9/11. You take that for what you will, based on what I just said. And there was like an eagle on the cover, and I sold for like $25. Cost me like $1. Most people would have just gone right by it. So always take time to scan things, especially if they're uncommon. Now I'm talking about scanning. So when you pick up a DVD or a video game, I know this is Japanese, don't ask why. On the back, there's going to be a barcode. So camera right there. Barcode. What you want to do is get your phone, which I'm using to record right now. Do I have anything I can... Get your phone. Get your phone. Go to the eBay app, and when you go to click on the search bar, to the right of it, you're going to see a little camera or a barcode scanner thing. It should be quite obvious. You click on it, and then you scan the barcode with your phone camera. And then from there, you're going to look at the... What the hell? The UPC. I think that's what it's called. It's going to search up the UPC. This number. That number right there. You probably can't see it because it won't focus, but there's a number under the barcode. He's going to see that, and then... it's going to search that, and you're going to find titles that match it. So, for example, if you scan Super Mario Bros. Wii, you're going to see a bunch of listings for Super Mario Bros. Wii. Now, when you are looking to, this is the next segment here, when you're looking to whether or not you should buy something, there's a few things you need to go over. One, completed listings versus just items that are listed. So, don't pay attention to the price of items that are just listed. Swipe to the right, scroll down and check sold items. I think you have to click on show more. Go to the bottom, sold items. Once you do that, you're going to see the sold listings. Now, this is where you want to actually determine where your price is from, because this is what people are actually paying for them. So, for example, if you see a bunch of listings for $80 for a game, then when you click onto the sold thing, it's only selling for $20. That's not worth $80. It's worth $20. Now, it's very uncommon to happen. The example I just illustrated, but it's an example. It's just to get the point across. Now, what we also want to look at is the sell-through rate, because not only does the profit margin matter, which I'll go over after this, but also how fast you can sell it. You don't want to be holding things forever, especially if you need money quick or you don't have a lot of capital. You don't want to be tying up your capital and things are going to take forever to sell. So what you do is at the bottom when you search something, you should scroll down or up, something like that. At the bottom or at the very top, I forgot what it was, you'll see how many listings there are that haven't sold. So for example, there might be 2,000 listings. Let's say 2,000 listings, make that a baseline. 2,000 listings that haven't sold for a particular item. You swipe to the right, go to sold items, 2,000 have sold. Okay, that tells you this has a decent sell-through rate. It doesn't sell super fast, but it doesn't sell slow either. Now let's say if there was 4,000 sold with 2,000 listed. Okay, well that means it sells fast. That's a high sell-through rate. If you relist it, you're probably going to get rid of it relatively quickly. Now let's say there's 2,000 listed, but only 100 sold. That means you're going to be holding this thing for a while unless you sell it for very cheap. That's how it works. So I want to be looking for items that, if something's very high profit, then you can deal with a lower sell-through rate. But if you are selling something that's medium range profit, you need something that's going to sell relatively quickly or in a reasonable time frame. You don't want to be waiting. So, with that being said, we're going to go over profit margin. Exactly how much should you be making on each DVD/game? So, again, like I said, sell-through rate matters, but let's assume a normal sell-through rate, average sell-through rate. You want to be making at least $7, maybe $5. I'll say $7. I think $7's a happy medium. $7 per DVD/video game. Now, don't make the bonehead mistake, because I'll see a lot of people doing this. This is a bonehead mistake right here. Don't do what I'm about to tell you. A lot of people, they see a game for $1, right? Or a DVD for $1. They go on eBay. They see it says, oh, it sells for $10. I'm going to make a $9 profit. Now, I'm sure a lot of you watching this video will realize the issue with that, but I'm telling you, a lot of people don't realize this. The problem is that there's fees and shipping. So what you need to do is, okay, let's take the example right there. The game is $1. It sells on eBay for $10. Okay. Well, shipping is going to be about $4. In general, shipping costs $4. Sometimes it's going to be $3.80. Sometimes it's going to be $4.20, $4.50. But in general, usually $4. Okay. Domestically to America. $4. Okay. Well, you slash that from the profit. Okay. Now instead of 9, it is 5. Yes. I don't want to mess up simple math in the middle of my YouTube video. Okay. That would not look good. Anyways, not like I care. I do whatever I want. So, what did I say? $5, right? Okay, well, there's going to be about a 12% fee because you're selling games, DVDs. It's like 12.5%. Let's say 12%. And let's write down to 10% to make the math really easy. And add a few cents on after. Okay, well, $10. 10% of 10 is 1. Add on a few cents, like $1.30 in fees. Okay, $1.30 plus 4, that's $5.30. Okay, 9 minus $5.30 is $3.70. Something like that. I don't know. I don't care. As you can tell, no, I'm pretty sure that's right. $3.70. Whatever. Who cares? All right. Okay, $3.70. That's what you're left over with. Then you add the $1 that you had to pay for it. Now you're at $2.70. I mean, $2.70 profit. That's not worth it. So when you're looking at what you want to do is add on like $6, right? That's the way you want to do it. So looking for a $7 profit margin. A game costs $1. Okay. Well, you can't just buy it for $8. You have to buy it for $14 minimum. Sell it for $14, excuse me. So that's the way you do it. Now, I'm a bit tired, so that math showing was quite awful. Anyway, so you determine the game is profitable, it's worth it. What do you do now? Well, first, you have to make sure that the game isn't completely destroyed. So I'm one-handing this game right here. So this is an example here. You want to look at the back of the disc and you want to make sure it's not scratched. Okay, if the back of the disc looks like it's gone through hell and back, then put it back. Doesn't matter if it's profitable, it's probably not going to work. Unless it's an extremely rare game or extremely profitable game. For example, a game like Super Mario Sunshine That'll sell for like 40 bucks. Last I checked, it might be 50 or 60 now, to be honest. But you sell it for $1, you get it for $1. Okay, well, you can sell it broken for someone to resurface for like 20 to 30 bucks. So it's still worth it. So you just want to, make sure you aren't leaving something that you can still sell for a good amount. But if it's something that something that's barely profitable, hits that profit range, then don't bother. Okay, don't bother at all. Next, okay, let's go over testing now. So a lot of you may be wondering, okay, well, I have a Wii game here, but I don't have a Wii, so how do I know if it works? You're gonna have to take a leap of faith. But in general, if the back of the disc is fine, then usually that's gonna work. The odds of it not working with the back of the disc looking good is very low. I don't know if I said that right, but you get the point. If the back of the disc looks good, then it probably works. So you can list it as such. And over time, you can, because the things, if you want to get a console for testing, get a Wii. Because Wiis can play Wii games, obviously, and GameCube games, right? So that's going to be the most versatile thing you have. If you are going to want to sell other games, you have to get other consoles to play them. That's just how it is, unless you get some kind of... I know they sell, like, stuff you could plug into your computer and you can put the cartridge in. Maybe that'll be a cheaper way of doing it without having to get the console. Wiis usually are at thrift stores. I got my Wii. Oh, you can actually see it's right there. It's that I got at a thrift store for like 10 bucks. And if you want to buy consoles, go ahead too. That works as well. If you want to buy anything else like clothing, shoes, apply the same process. I'm just doing DVD and games because these are the easiest to do. So, yes, for testing, if you don't have the console necessary to test something, then you're YOLOing it. It's going to work most of the time. Okay, it's going to be fine. As long as the back of the disc looks okay, it'll be okay. All right. Next, talk about listing. So, this is where a lot of people run into surprises because they don't know what they're doing. First, you want to get your materials and make sure you're actually ready if something sells. So you're going to need something like, you could, at the start, I recommend you go to Walmart, Target, something like that, and get some bubble mailers. It's these packages where there's bubble wrap inside. It's already made for you. You know what I'm talking about. But over time, you're going to want to switch to something more cost-effective, because if you're just buying these 5 packs of bubble mailers, it's going to be... what they charge like $1 each. It's going to cut into your profits. And oh yeah, when you're factoring in, I forgot to talk about this. When you're factoring the profit of the item that you want to buy, you need to remember about the materials. If you're spending $1 per item you sell, you're going to need to add that in to your calculation. So anyways, over time you're going to want to switch to something else. So whether that being buying a massive bulk of bubble mailers, although I don't think that's really worth it, because you can just do what I'm about to tell you. Get some poly mailers off Amazon. You get like 200 for like 20 bucks. And get some bubble wrap. That's going to be cheaper than bubble mailers. Next, need a printer. Now, I heard there's some way you can use a QR code to ship things. I've never done that. So, if you can't get a printer for whatever reason, then look into that. But in general, what I do is, what I did was when I sold something, I printed the label, stuck it on, and gave it to the post office. So I'll go over what to do when you sell something later, but you need a printer and need some ink. All right. Don't forget about that, because I remember, and this is before they did the QR code thing, I guess. I've seen people's stories like, I sold something and I realized I didn't have a printer, so I had to go to like Office Depot or whatever to print the thing. That's a funny story. Anyways, your eBay account. So hopefully you already have an eBay account with some feedback on it. That's going to help, because most people don't like buying from someone with absolutely zero feedback on their eBay account. Most people don't like doing that. But if you're in a situation where you don't have an eBay account, make one as soon as possible. And I don't really think there's any settings you have to worry about. I mean, eBay is pretty straightforward. So, assuming your eBay account's set up to sell, You need to connect the bank account, add your social, whatever. That's outside the scope of this video. Photos. So what you want to do here is, it's very simple. You can do it on your bed. You can have a desk for it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as you can take a photo of the thing. So let's say, well, this one's a bit of a special. Anyways, whatever. Same thing. For this, take a photo of the front. Boom. If you want to be all fancy, or you could do it. There's two ways of doing it. If you don't have a lot to work with, you're just gonna end up doing photo, and then you open it and you show the inside photo, and maybe even a photo of the back of the disc. If you're a bit more bougie and actually can get something set up where you can stand it like that, you can turn it like this so that it shows the spine. You do the same for the other side, show the spine. Then you take the same photos. In this case, you can open it, show it like that. Open it, show it like that. Take a photo of the back of the disc, and you'll be good. So there's two ways of doing it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't think, well, don't be one of these people like, oh, well, I can't sell on eBay because I don't have a DSLR camera. I don't have a good camera. It's like, bro, you don't need a good camera to sell on eBay. I remember I was listing on eBay with a Samsung Galaxy something. I forgot what it was. It was a terrible phone. It was a terrible camera. It was like 720p, which is awful for, I mean, this camera I'm using right now, although I'm using the front camera, not the back camera. The back camera is 4K. Doesn't matter if it's 4K, doesn't matter if it's HD, doesn't matter if it's 2K, doesn't matter if it's 720, doesn't even matter if it's 480. As long as you can tell what it is, then you'll be fine. And lighting is more important than the camera you use, so try to open a window, get some sunlight. Buy a light like this. It costs like, like $15 on Amazon. Use a light from the ceiling, whatever you need, okay? Whatever you need to do to make it work. So you take your photos. How do you actually list the item? So this is where it becomes really easy. All right, because eBay already has the built-in feature. So what you do is you go on eBay, you search up the thing you want to sell. So let's say this is the Japanese version of Wind Waker. So you go on eBay, go to Nintendo GameCube, Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, Japan import, NTSCJ. You find a listing that has sold, or is one of those listings where it's like says 100 of these have sold, because those people know what they're doing. Okay, those people are professionals at eBay. You may not be a professional at eBay, but they are. So this is why eBay is nice, because you can just copy off of them. It's like the smart kid at school, you just copy what they do. You find a sold listing, or you go to one of those mega listings, and there's going to be a little thing that says, sell one like this. You click on that, then it's going to give you all the metadata already filled out. You can keep the same title if you want. If you want to add more to the title, then go ahead. And then what you do is you drag and drop your photos, or you upload them directly if you're using your phone. Then you want to go to, I'm going to make sure I don't forget anything that's important. You go down, you set the price. Now the price is determined on how much other listings are selling for. If they're usually selling for 20, sell yours for 20. You want to do free shipping. Don't worry about unexpected shipping costs. If you're shipping it to America, it's going to cost between $380, $450. I have never seen something go above that. $450, that's the very most. If you're shipping from Florida to California, it's like $450. But usually it's about like I said, $420, something like that. Do free shipping because eBay likes that. The algorithm likes that. And then on to the information. You want to do USPS ground, flat, free. And it doesn't really matter what you put in for the package information as long as it's relatively accurate. Like something like this, just put 552 4 ounces. There you go, you'll be fine. All right. So you're copying listings like a G, making things easy for yourself. And that's really it. I mean, listing is actually the easy part. I remember a lot of people used to be like, oh my God, listing. Listing is so difficult, whatever. I mean, listing takes almost no time, especially if you're taking photos like a G. You're not wasting our time, because a lot of people do this whole setup where they turn all these lights, like I'll take a photo like this. Like maybe if you're selling thousands of items and you have this professional store, then whatever. But I don't even think that helps that much. It's just to look cool. It's like, oh, look at me, I have a photo setup. You don't need it. Just take some photos. All right. It's not that difficult. And you copy the listing. I mean, that takes literally no effort. You can list, if you had this and you had photos, you could list it in like 1 minute. All right. So, what about once you sell something? You want to have notifications on or be checking eBay. You want to do both, actually, because I remember I was off eBay for a while because I was doing other stuff, and I just went back and I realized, well, I'm 2 weeks overdue on like 3 packages because my notifications didn't go off. Because I had the notifications off on my phone. So you want to be checking your eBay all the time. You want to have your notifications on. You don't want to have your first few sales get negative feedback because you didn't see the notification in order to ship it. That's one of the stupidest ways to get negative feedback. Don't mess up your early sales because it will affect your future. So, when you actually realize, when you actually aren't an idiot and actually see that you sold something, what do? Okay. So, you buy the label, you fill in whatever information, it's going to be auto-filled for you. You buy it, you print it out, and you stick it on the package. You get your bubble mailer or the poly mailer, and you wrap, if you can use a poly mailer, wrap it in bubble wrap, and you put it inside. Put it inside. All right, that's what you got to do. You got to put it inside, nice and tight. I am so mature. Anyways, so now you have the package ready. What do you do now? Well, what you do now is you drop it off at the post office. You either go inside and go like, here, look, I sold something on eBay. You tell them your life story. Or you go outside, like a true introvert, and you stick it inside of the box thing, whatever it's called. And they'll pick it up for you, and they'll ship it out. Done. Assuming you don't have to do the next step. Or you can schedule a pickup. So eBay makes this really easy. I'm pretty sure once you buy a label, there's going to be little things that schedule a pickup with the USPS. You fill in the information, leave it in your mailbox, and they'll come and they'll take it for you. So you don't have to go to the post office for that. Now, what about customer service? So when you're first starting, and in general, actually, you want to make customer service a priority. It's true that no news is good news. Okay, if no one's saying anything and just leaving positive feedback, then you're doing a good job. Okay. But if someone says, well, the game doesn't work or whatever, don't make a big deal out of it. Because to me, this is obvious, but I've seen a lot of people, like new sellers, they'll like, oh, no, it does work, blah, blah, and they go into this argument with the customer. Don't argue with customers, especially at the start, because, like I said, the start affects the future. So, don't get negative feedback because you're being a hardhead. All right. The truth is, the $20 you'll lose if you, because, I mean, especially if you didn't test it. I mean, you shouldn't really dispute it if you didn't test it, but the future is worth far more than these $20. There's been a lot of situations where I've seen people, they fight over like a $15 sale. They're like, no, it does work. They get into an argument. eBay gets involved. They get negative feedback, and then that affects their future. They don't get as many sales in the future, as opposed to just giving them the $15 refund and just moving on. It's not worth that much. It's not worth the struggle of the future. So be very nice to customers. Customers never wrong. That's in general true when you're doing customer service. I know some customers are belligerent, some customers are stupid, and some of them are even scammers. But at the start, you want to be very forgiving the customers. Be kind of a cuck for them, okay? I know. I didn't want to do it either, but you don't really have a choice at the start because you don't want to rack up negative feedback from being prick. But I will say that that's not usually an issue. Most of the time, things go smooth. Most of the time, you don't have to contact your customers. They don't have to contact you. So I'm going to go over some loose threads here. So talk about a few things. Video game controllers. Video game controllers usually sell well, especially GameCube controllers. If you see GameCube controllers, if you see Wii remotes, stuff like this, look them up. Okay? Video game consoles, those do well too. And again, if you sell these the same exact way. You go on eBay, you can't scan a lot of these, but what I'm about to talk about, you can't really scan these, but you just go on eBay, search up Wii. White Wii, backwards compatible with GameCube, see how much they're selling for, okay, instead of scanning it. So with that being said, consoles, controllers, DVD and VCR combos, those sell for a lot. Clothing, vintage clothing. I'm not a clothing professional, but although I am professional in everything, I'm just not as much professional in clothing. Those, I heard some vintage stuff sells for a lot. There's shoes. I've sold some shoes. Just make sure they aren't beat up or anything like that. That's obvious. I hope I didn't have to say that. I hope I said that unnecessarily. Board games, if they're complete, even if they're incomplete, if they're a rare version. Pots, some pots can sell for a lot. Mugs, some mugs can sell for a lot. In general, everything at the thrift store can sell, to be honest. You just have to look at everything, and I'll leave it on this. When you first go to the thrift store the first few times, be very open to scanning things. Be very open to looking things up. Because like I said before, you're going to have to go through trial and error. You're not just going to be able to, I'm picking out perfect things every single time. You're going to be scanning a lot of things. You're going to be looking up a lot of things that aren't worth anything. Relish that and embrace it. Don't focus on finding the perfect thing. If anything, scan almost everything you see. Scan almost everything you see. Search almost everything you see at the start. That's the way to learn. And then over time, you'll be able to go in 5 minutes. Like if I went to the thrift store right now, I could clear it in 10 minutes. And probably leave with a good amount of profit. With all that being said, this is the best business for young men. You don't need a lot of starting capital. Need extra help? Check my website, link in description.